Right, let's go ahead and call the Senate to order. The Sergeant-at-Arms will please secure the chamber doors. Members, please take your seats. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. President,
All right, Senators, we are very pleased today to have Reverend Rodney Hudson of Ames and Metropolitan United Methodist Church in Baltimore City, guest of the distinguished senator from the 40th District. Please rise for the invocation.
Let us pray. Eternal and all-wise creator and sustainer of the universe, we come before you tonight acknowledging the need for your presence, protection, and your provision. For if we ever needed the Lord before, we really need you now. This Maryland State Senate needs you now. Baltimore City needs you now. Our schools, neighborhoods, and our faith communities need you now. For the day is dark and the night is upon us. And we want to know, how long must we wait for a change to come? The great poet tells us that do not go gentle into that good night, though old age may rave at the close of day. And so we want to know, God, how long must we wait for a change to come? But I hear my grandmother say, you can't hurry God. Sometimes you just gotta wait. He may not come when you want him, but he'll be on time. And so although it's nighttime, we know that you're an on-time God. We know that there is a bright side somewhere. So God, show up and walk down the hallowed halls of this Senate chamber. Show up and soften hearts hardened by hateful dialogue. Show up with the spirit of cooperation that would nullify the lines that keeps us divided. We are human beings created in your image. So bless this evening every elected representative and their families. Bless them during their days and nights when they have to be away from their families doing the people's work. Keep them reminded that they are servants, and that when the day comes when their eyes are forever closed, the Creator will not say, well done, thy good and faithful servant. Well done, thy good and faithful preacher or community activist. But God will say, well done, thy good and faithful servant. We're here to serve. So let the words of our ancestors ring true in this chamber. If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or a song, if I can show somebody that they're going wrong, then my living will not be in vain. Hear our prayers. Amen.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it. Chair recognizes the senator from the 40th District.
Thank you, Mr. President. Reverend Rodney Hudson is definitely a man of faith, as we heard here today. This is probably one of the first times that I've heard Reverend Hudson give the word of God. But you could often see him in the Sandtown community at Pennsylvania North Avenue being a true advocate for those who may not have a whole lot in the community. And so I'm grateful for his presence today. And Mr. President, I ask that we journalize this prayer.
Without objection, most certainly, Senator, we will journalize the Reverend's remarks. Appreciate his actions and his words. So thank you, Senator. Thank you, and thank you, Reverend, for being here with us. All right. Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 45 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland is now in session. We have a series of resolutions. Are we ready for the resolution? All right, we had the Teachers of the Year earlier. Today we have another special presentation. We're going to take this up as one full resolution, but we're going to read each of the names of the individuals who are coming, and believe the clerk will be reading the names. Is that correct? And then we'll have Senator from Anne Arundel will give us some remarks once they've arrived. So if we have our guests, Madam Clerk.
Savannah Sullinger, Promising New Social Studies Teacher of the Year. Scott Goldstein, Maryland Civic Education Coalition Civic Leader of the Year. Kate Ehrlich, Secondary Social Studies Teacher of the Year. Deborah Rantanen, Outstanding Professional at a Social Studies Related Organization. Stephen O'Neill, Elementary Social Studies Teacher of the Year. Leah Renzi, Social Studies Instructional Leader of the Year.
Chair recognizes the Senator from Anne Arundel.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's my pleasure to introduce the Maryland Council for Social Studies Teachers of the Year. They're dedicated to promotion and support of social studies education in Maryland and the United States. MDCSS works to build a community of social studies educators in the state of Maryland. Through this network, advance cultural understanding, respect for human differences, and appreciation of diversity. MDCSS provides high-quality professional development and instructional resources for Maryland social studies teachers and works to recognize excellence in social studies instruction at the elementary, middle, and high school levels. We congratulate our social studies teachers of the year.
Thank you. We have a resolution. The clerk will read the resolution in full.
Be it hereby known to all that the Senate of Maryland offers its sincerest congratulations to the Social Studies and Civic Educator Award recipients. In recognition of your awards for excellence in social studies and civics education, thank you for your dedication to your students. The entire membership extends its best wishes on this memorable occasion and directs this resolution be presented on this 4th day of March, 2024.
The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? If so, the clerk will take the call. To the wonderful, wonderful educators and civics leaders, the Senate of Maryland unanimously celebrates your work and congratulates you on a job well done. Thank you so much for your efforts. We need our civics teachers now more than ever these days. Excellent. Thank you all for being with us this evening, and thanks for your work. Thank you, thank you. All right. Believe we have some introductions. Thank you all again so much. Thank you for being here. Let's see. Introductions. Chair recognizes Senator from District 11.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I have the honor of introducing two different groups tonight. On behalf of my colleague who is unable to be here, Senator, permission to use the senator's name?
Senator may proceed.
Senator Brooks, unfortunately, is not able to be here this evening for his own district night. So I want to welcome on his behalf the District 10 community members, some of whom I saw earlier, if they could stand. And he sends his regrets, but welcome, everyone. Thank you. The second group I'd like to welcome this evening is Dr. Nancy Grasmick. She established 2 leadership programs for students in Baltimore County Public Schools and Towson University students. And she selects them from teachers in the BCPS, select leaders with potential leadership ability, and then Towson University selects students to participate in special leadership program, and they make an annual trip to Annapolis. Many of us got to visit with them this evening, sharing our experiences and having a conversation with many of them. So please welcome Dr. Grasmick and also her leadership program participants.
Wonderful.
Right up there.
Well, thank you all for being here with us. I'm assuming Dr. Grasmick's behind me. Is that the case? She's up behind you. Well, please, one of the greatest Marylanders we got. So we're so thankful for her. All right. Yes, Chair recognizes Senator from the capital city.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Just following up on my good friend, I have the privilege of being a Towson alumni and an adjunct professor there, so I have 2 former students in the gallery, if I could embarrass them for a minute.
Please.
Mr. President. Parker and Elijah, if you could both stand, just 2 outstanding students and future leaders.
Excellent.
And then my former professor, the toughest grader I ever had as a professor, Dr. Allison McCartney, is also here.
Welcome, welcome. Excellent. Very good. Senator from District 40.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I'm going to ask the residents of the 40th District that's in the gallery to please stand. Mr. President, thank you. Tonight we had District 40 night. We started off, last week we had the Teacher of the Year for Baltimore City that was here. He came tonight with his students from Ort Kids, from Booker T. Washington. And then we had tons of residents that came down from the 40th District, including 5 of my 7 great aunts, Henrietta, Marion, Annie, Juanita, Roe, and my cousin Tammy. Colleagues, please join me in giving a warm Senate welcome to the residents of District 40.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. It was a great spirited evening, lots of energy. It was wonderful, wonderful. All right, let's see, we have Senator from the 41st District.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's an honor to be able to announce in the gallery the members of the Baltimore City Democratic State Central Committee. We have representatives here from Districts 40, 41, the Fighting 41, Fierce 41, and the fabulous 46 too, Mr. President. And I want to give a special shout out to the chair from District 41, Tammy Stinnett. Thank you.
Great to see you all. Thank you so much for your wonderful work. We have Joe DeSeta from the 46, Autumn Grant, great to see you from the 46th District. Appreciate you all so much, all your work. Thank you, thank you. And Teresa, wonderful to see you here as well. All right, let's see. Any further introductions before we jump into the work today? Do we want to do pages now? Let's do Senator from the 37th District.
Thank you, Mr. President. You caught me off guard, but yes.
Sorry,
it's
apologies.
always-
We figure while everybody's still paying attention, we want to.
Okie doke, absolutely. It's a time to introduce the pages. Colleagues, please let's give a big round of applause for our pages for the week. Our first page hails from Montgomery County, Sandy Springs Friends School. That's Abigail Bobrow. Bobrow. Yeah. Our next page hails from Carroll County, South Carroll High School, Ryan Cave. Ryan. Our next page hails from Anne Arundel County, District 31, Severna Park High School, Ella Floriton. Ella. Our next page hails from Frederick County, District 3, Governor Thomas Johnson High School, Anusha Khan. Our next page hails from Prince George's County, District 23, Charles Herbert Flowers High School, Enoch Amatayo. Our next page hails from Baltimore County, District 33, Mount DeSales Academy, Margaret Slusser. And our last page this week, colleagues, hails from Baltimore City, District 46, Vivian T. Thomas Medical Arts Academy, Amalak Villegas Badillo.
Welcome back. This is going to be, ran into a few of the pages down in Sprout earlier today. They're excited. They're ready to go. Lots of debate this week. They had a slow week the first time. This one's going to be not quite as slow. I think we're going to have a little more energy this go round. So, all right. Any further business before we jump in? If not, so be considered the reading of the journal from the prior legislative day. We have some additional Senate bills. Hopeful bills here. Calendar number 51. Clerk will read the bills.
Senate Bill 1183, Senator Carter, Natural Resources, Establishment of Gwynn Falls State Park, Rules. Senate Bill 1184.
Majority Leader moves so be considered the reading of the bills. They will be referred to the Rules Committee. Let's go to the Senate bond initiatives, calendar 39. Clerk will read the bond initiatives.
Number 1, Senator M. Washington, York Road Commercial Corridor, Budget and Taxation. Number 2, Senator M. Washington, Clare Court 2, Budget and Taxation.
Majority Leader moves so be considered the reading of the bond initiatives. They will be referred to the Capital Budget Subcommittee. We've got some House bills headed over. First reading House bills, number 8. Clerk will read the bills.
House Bill 54, Delegate Atterbury, Property Tax Transfer to Heir or Legatee Payment Plans, Budget and Taxation.
Majority Leader moves so be considered the reading of the bills. They will be referred to their appropriate standing committees. Let's go ahead and jump, if we are ready, into the layover calendar, number 10. Are we ready for this one? This is, clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 125, Senator Lewis Young, Residential Property Sales, Contract Disclosures, Superfund Sites. Question is in the adoption of the one amendment offered from the floor by Senator Lewis Young.
All right, we'll need the pages on this one. Let's recognize the bill sponsor.
I have an amendment on the prior amendments.
An amendment on the prior amendment. Oh, this is going to be a tricky one. Let's double check. Do we want to withdraw the floor amendment first?
Yes. Did we put it on there? I don't.
Let's collect and distribute the amendment, and then if we have to do some procedural stuff here, we'll. It's all right. Take a moment. We'll make sure we get it right. Okay. So we want to. So right now, what's before the body is the floor amendment from. Now it was about a week ago or several days ago. Right. So believe the correct parliamentary procedure would be to withdraw the floor amendment. Would the senator like to make a motion to withdraw the prior floor amendment?
Well, can I ask a question about that?
Yes.
We're not changing the language of the prior amendment. We're only adding a clarifying phrase to the previous amendment. So in that case, what would be appropriate?
Withdrawal. It appears that withdrawal is the correct, to withdraw the floor amendment. And then we will continue with the amendment that was from the committee amendment, if that's what I believe would be correct.
Move to withdraw.
Okay, the senator moves to withdraw the floor amendment. Any objections? Without objection, the amendment is withdrawn. We now have the amendment from a new floor amendment that the senator has, we've collected and distributed.
So based on the conversations that we had and the concern about a URL that might someday change or be modified, we added some clarification that says if the website address listed in the buyer notice under paragraph 1 of the subsection changes, the buyer notice shall be updated to reflect the new website address or a user-friendly replacement website recommended by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency.
Mr. President.
Okay, senator has moved the amendment. On the amendment, let's go ahead to the senator from District 7.
I appreciate the attempt to try to correct the concerns I had, but I think this even makes it more confusing about substituting a website, but we still have a website listed, and that was my concern when I got up originally, is putting actual websites in statute law. I thought we were going to try to just generalize it and say, point to a website with Department of EPA that focuses on Superfund sites and not actually have it www.whatever-the-website-is.com.
I actually spoke to the drafter about that concern, and it's true, it is unusual that we would list a URL address, but given the nature of this particular legislation and the primary goal is transparency, notice to the buyer that you might be purchasing a property near a Superfund site, the only way we can help them know without putting the burden on the real estate agent is to direct them to a website that has existed for quite some time with just this for emphasis that shows if it changes, the EPA will provide a link and update it. It is an unusual circumstance, but it's the nature of the legislation.
It is, and people move near stuff all the time that's of concern, airports or, trash incinerators or landfills that they want to know about. You're saying that what we're putting in here is that, hey, here's the website, but if it ever does have a problem, it's not working, we'll recommend EPA guide us on a website that is correct, and we'll update that. Why don't we just take that avenue instead of actually putting the URL website to begin with? I'm just trying to, clean up state law where we don't have websites there, and I appreciate you trying to help, but I just think we're missing the mark on my concerns on this bill.
Well, that's actually what we did in the first place. We put the website that the EPA recommended, and we tried to address your concern by putting that clarification in for emphasis. But if you want to take it out and go back to the original posture, we could do that too.
All right, so question before the body is on the floor amendment. Let's go ahead and check with the senator from the 26th district on the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. Floor leader yield for
Floor to
question.
yield.
Would it be a lot of trouble if we simply had the Board of Realtors put in on some sheet of paper at closing to notify someone ahead of time if they're living in such a cluster, let them notify them and then tell them what to do as they are buying? Would that be a problem?
Well, the legislation does that.
Okay. So it directs them to a place, or it simply says it directs them to that place?
But if you just tell the realtor to direct them to some website,
Right.
then they wouldn't necessarily be directing them to a website
Okay.
that is the preferred EPA website that's user-friendly and currently updated and focused just on Superfund sites.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
All right, question remains on the amendment. On the amendment, any further discussion on the amendment? Any further discussion on the amendment? Any senators who have not yet spoken who wish to speak? Not. Chair recognizes the senator from chair of the committee.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President. So I think the amendment it does not adequately address. I think we want to have the website that's current, but not the specific website in statute. And I think there's a way we can do that with the language. And so, if we could, let's take one more run at this. We could special order the bill for one more day until the appropriate time tomorrow. Get this right. I'm confident we can get this right.
All right. If we take one day, are there any objections to take one day on this? Bring it up tomorrow. We'll get an early draft in the morning. Get something. Okay. We'll keep the amendment on. We may have to pull that one off when we get a new draft. We'll make this last yeah. We'll get there. We'll get there. All right. Any objections? Without objection, we'll special order the bill to the appropriate time tomorrow. All right. We've got some re-referrals from the Rules Committee. This is report number 3. Clerk will read the report.
Senate Bill 1135, Senator McCray, Baltimore City Traffic Control Signal and Speed Monitoring Systems Impoundment to JPR. Senate Bill 1142, Senator Zucker, Tax Clinics for Low-Income Marylanders Funding to Budget and Taxation. Senate Bill 1178, Senator Bailey, Higher Education, Douglas J.J. Peters, Veterans of the Afghan and Iraqi Conflict Scholarship Repeal of Service Terminal Date to EEE.
All right. Recognizing the chair of the Rules Committee.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. The Rules Committee met on Friday and voted to re-refer the bills to their appropriate standing committees. Make a motion to
refer the bills to the yes.
Accept the committee report.
Without objection, the bills will be re-referred to the appropriate standing committees. All right. We've got one more calendar here for the evening. Let's do a quick quorum call, please.
Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 45 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland remains in session. This is third reading calendar number 30. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 2, Senator Carter, Juvenile Law, Child in Need of Supervision, Mandatory Petition, Nikayla Strawder Memorial Act.
All right, Senate Bill 2 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 45 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 2, having received the constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 744, the President, Juvenile Law Reform.
Senate Bill 744 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? Chair recognizes the minority leader has 2 minutes to explain his vote.
I didn't know you took the vote. Did you take the vote?
No, it's not closed yet.
So then I can still speak on the bill?
Yes. 2 minutes.
2 minutes? All right, thank you, Mr. President. Just on the bill itself and explaining my vote, we certainly appreciate the effort that's been made in trying to address juvenile justice and the crimes that we're seeing rampantly across the state. But again, I think unfortunately we don't feel that this bill goes far enough. And at the same time, there are a lot of public safety bills that are still held up in committee. And I think it's important that we recognize that we still need to do something if we're going to honor our commitment to the citizens of Maryland and make this a safer state. We've got 2 weeks left until crossover. A lot of things can happen, but there are a lot of bills that are out there. We've got bills that deal with repeat violent offenders, that deal with reduction and suspension of demolition credits. Senator from District 45 has a bill that will hold DJS accountable to get more information so we can really take a look at what's going on and where the crimes are occurring and who's committing them. And I just feel that, again, this is a step, but it's certainly not a leap. We have a lot more work to do when it comes to public safety. And I again would ask the body that we continue to focus on that and make this our commitment this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Any further senators wish to explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 43 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 744, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 1106, the President Annual Corrective Bill. This is an emergency bill.
Senate Bill 1106 is on third reading for final passage. This is an emergency bill. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 45 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 1106, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. All right, that does it. The desk is clear. Desk is clear. Let's hear anything from committees today. Committees. Nothing till the morning. Any other standing committees, select committees, caucuses, delegations? Chair recognizes Chair of the Democratic Caucus.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. The Senate Democratic Caucus will be meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m. in person. 9 a.m.
9 a.m. Chair recognizes the Minority Whip.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Senate Republican Caucus will be meeting at 8:30 a.m. in the caucus room on the fourth floor.
Excellent. All right. Any further announcements? Any further announcements this evening on this 40th District night? No? Yeah, Executive Noms?
No, real quick.
Introduction. Yes, Chair. Senator may proceed.
I introduced a lot of people tonight, Mr. Senate President. I didn't want to leave without announcing the presence of my Councilman Eric Costello is here on the floor with us tonight.
Welcome, Councilman. My councilman as well. I wasn't going to embarrass him. No, in all seriousness. All right. Any further announcements? If not, let's do a quorum call.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 44 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland remains in session. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate of Maryland stand adjourned until Tuesday, March 5th at 10 a.m.
10 a.m. Without objection, so ordered. Have a wonderful night, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow.